Alright. So, before we get underway here, there is a couple things I want to inform you guys about. So, towards the end of this mission, or after we beat the mission, there's going to be a few cutscenes, which I of course, want to talk about and comment on. Plus, I'm going to have... I want to read something for you guys from the Arthas Rise of the Lich King book. It's mainly going to be the epilogue portion, because it has to do with what happens at the end of this mission and during one of the cutscenes. I also want to comment on one of the cutscenes that's going to play, because it's a redone version of a cutscene from the previous game that a lot of people have criticized. And I, of course, want to talk about it. And then we'll end... We'll get to the portion where, before we cut it off, and, because we're not going to do the Rexar campaign at the end of this, I'll be starting the next video. But before we end the video, I'll play something special for you guys, just to have it fit of what's going on. So I just want to let you guys know that. That's what's kind of what I have intended for this video. It's probably going to be a long one, so just kind of sit tight. Or grab a drink, grab a snack or something. It's going to be, if you want to watch the entirety, it's probably going to end up being a little while. So yeah, you can already tell right here, right off the bat, the minimap shows 4 objectives here. We have to capture the 4 obelisks, stop Illidan from capturing all 4 of them, and we have, he's got forces and bases, like, right where at least where a couple of them are. And it's going to show how much, the obelisk controlled and such. Yeah, so... Arthas, what's funny is he's like, oh, I have my power back, and yet he's still level 2.
Me around.
Fortunately, Anub'arak is level 8,
Be matched.
Tread lightly.
We need to get to a base. In fact, there's a couple things here. Sacrificial Skull creates blight at a targeted location. So, I guess we're taking this base over here from...
What is it now?
These guys? From these Naga forces over here, I guess?
Speak, fool.
Okay.
You're out of your league, old king. You should have stayed hidden underground. Speak.
We're just gonna have these beetles go do a bit of scouting.
Foolish undead. This obelisk belongs to me.
Okay.
Thy bidding, master.
So, we need a gold mine. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yes, master.
Whoa.
Our forces are under attack.
Things are acting very slow and choppy at the moment. Not entirely sure what is going on.
Now,
Let's have this shade go investigate over here.
let's see. I go unseen.
There's another gold mine over here.
All shall be revealed. I'll look into it. I'll look into it. I go unseen. Summoning is complete. Let's see.
Okay.
All shall be revealed. Summoning is complete.
Okay, so now we have
Where shall my blood
more
be
room to build more structures. Let's get a crypt.
I cannot summon there. Yes, master.
Whoops. Let's get a graveyard.
I gladly obey.
Let's get an altar of darkness.
My fate is sealed.
And then start setting up a couple of
Thy will be done.
ziggurats.
Obey.
More gold is required.
Thy will be done.
More gold.
You and your Lich King duped me once, but now I have the upper hand.
Summon more ziggurats. Summon more
Summoning
ziggurats.
is complete.
Just gotta wait for them to come in.
I bow to your will. Yes, master. Summoning is complete. Summoning is complete. Summoning is complete. Summoning is complete.
More gold is required. More gold is required. Upgrade complete. Our forces are under attack.
Yep, I knew it.
Tread lightly. No one orders
Summoning
me around.
is complete.
Upgrade complete.
Time is fleeting.
Upgrade complete.
This obelisk is mine.
Okay.
Speak, fool. This is more like it.
I serve only the frozen throne.
Speak, fool.
Hello, Arthas.
You look different, Illidan. I guess the Skull of Gul'dan didn't agree with you. Frostborn hungers.
Alright, Anub'arak, get in there and help defend him.
I'll consume them.
Our power is under attack.
Lightly.
I wish only to serve. I
Upgrade
bow
complete.
to your will.
Our forces are under attack.
Where shall my blood be spilled?
Upgrade
My
complete.
fate is sealed.
Our forces are under attack.
The damned.
Like, okay, I need these guys to repair my buildings a bit.
I've reached the first obelisk. It will take me a few moments to activate it. I'll need protection while I work.
The damned stand ready.
Time is fleeting.
My life for Ner'zhul.
Our forces are under attack.
Thy bidding, Master.
This obelisk has been activated. We've got to push on.
The obelisk is now active and under our control. However, Illidan will likely try to take it from us. We must defend this point at all costs.
My sight is yours.
Our forces
What is
are
it
under
now?
attack.
This is more like it.
I wish only to serve. My life
Okay,
for
so
Ner'zhul.
it looks like they are all good when it comes to repairing the buildings.
I bow to your will.
Not almost, anyway.
Where shall my blood be spilled?
Okay, one of you.
Thy
Our
bidding,
forces are
Master.
under attack.
I gladly obey.
More gold is required.
Yes, Master.
Yes, I'm sure more gold is required.
Thy will be done.
Okay.
I wish only to serve. My fate is sealed. My fate is sealed. Thy will be
Research
done.
complete.
Yes, Master. Summoning is complete.
Upgrade complete.
Okay, so it looks like that's where the Blood Elf base is.
Speak, fool. Frostmourne hungers.
Research complete.
I wish only to
Upgrade
serve.
complete. Research complete.
I gladly obey. Summoning is complete. Yes, Master.
Our forces are under
Summoning
attack.
is complete. I gladly obey. Summoning is complete. Thy will be done.
Okay.
What is it now?
Okay, guys, let Arthas through, please.
Ah, at last.
Summoning is
My
complete.
might cannot be matched.
Research complete. Upgrade complete. Upgrade complete.
Okay, we got Black Citadel up, which means I can now get a boneyard.
Summoning is complete.
Another obelisk has been activated.
Alright.
I serve only the frozen throne.
Summoning is complete.
No one orders me around.
Our town is under attack.
Okay. Even the Black Citadel is attacking them in that close of a range, so hopefully that will be fine.
Thy bidding, master.
I'll have this guy do a bit of repairs.
The summons.
Oh, Illidan's there too.
Tread lightly.
Look at this. Arthas has actually been getting his abilities back.
This is more like it.
Research complete.
Summons.
Summoning is complete.
He's 10, and Arthas is 6, so he's slowly getting his powers back.
Research complete.
No one orders me around.
Hasten
Research complete.
by land or sea.
Research complete.
I bow to your will.
More gold is required. More gold is required. Our forces are under attack. More gold is required.
The third obelisk has been activated. Only one more remains. Rise up, my warriors.
Our forces are under
Cannot
attack.
be matched.
That's a lot of forces there. Woo boy.
Research complete. Research complete.
Speak, fool.
Our forces are under attack.
Time is fleeting.
What is it now? Frostmourne hungers.
Research complete. Research complete. Our forces are under attack. Research complete.
No one orders me around.
Research complete.
Speak, fool.
I serve only the frozen throne. Oblivion awaits.
What is it now?
You ran.
Ah, they went to go reclaim this one too, huh?
Research complete.
Tread lightly. No one orders me around. Now, Frostmourne.
I have heard the summons. Feel the venom of Narub.
Our forces are under attack.
Oh, there's Kael'thas.
The sleeper awakes.
He took that one, huh? Okay then.
Our forces are under attack.
What is it now? Finally.
Our
Speak.
forces
Hold
are
on.
under
Let me
attack.
grab this army over here.
Tread lightly. What is
Research
it now?
complete.
Okay, so Kael apparently is heading towards our base.
Forces are under attack.
My life for Ner'zhul.
Like, repair, 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 repair.
Our forces are under attack.
I wish only to serve. My life for Ner'zhul. I gladly obey.
Our forces are under attack.
Speak, fool. Tread lightly.
My might cannot be matched.
No one orders me around. Research complete.
Make your choice.
Speak, fool.
Time is fleeting.
Our forces are under attack.
Where shall my blood be spilled?
The shadows beckon.
Our forces are under attack.
Thy bidding, master. My life for Ner'zhul. Yes, master.
That's it. To the frozen throne.
We've done it, Anub'arak. The throne chamber is open. This is the hour of the scourge. The frozen throne is mine, demon. Step aside. Leave this world and never return. If you do, I'll be waiting.
I have sworn to destroy it, Arthas. It must be done.
Never.
So here's the cutscene. Again, I'll talk about this once everything settles down.
Lead your men home. Damn it. As your future king, I order you. You lost your mind, Kael'thas. I must consider this an act of treason, Dustin.
You lied to your men and betrayed the mercenaries who fought for you. What's happening to you, Arthur?
Your young prince will find only death in the cold north.
Return the blade. Complete the circle. Release me from this prison.
Poor Arthas. So, like I said, I want to talk about those cutscenes, and I have something to read for you guys. Though I think I might, I don't know if I'm going to talk about it right at this moment. I think I'll wait till we get to the next screen after that, because I think the credits play after I hit the continue button, which is kind of a humorous little thing. But for the moment, I want to talk about those cutscenes while it's fresh in my mind. So first off, the cutscene of the battle between Arthas and Illidan. It was here's part of the problem of the way Blizzard kind of handled and advertised the cutscenes that were going to be in this game. They led on others, players and such, to believe that almost all the cutscenes were going to be redone. And they teased that little part there at the beginning of that cutscene where Illidan drops in, ready to face him, I think at BlizzCon, just to kind of get people excited. And that, in hindsight, was probably a poor decision, considering the final result, in terms of it made everyone have higher expectations than they probably should have been, considering what they did with the cutscenes. Now, I personally have been okay with the way that they have amped up the quality of the cutscenes. For one thing, that cutscene you saw there afterwards of Arthas ascending the glacier and putting on the helm, if you see my original playthrough of this game, in the original version, it glitched out and bugged out on me because, as I mentioned, playing and recording this from a technical standpoint was a nightmare for me because of the glitches of it transitioning from the game to the cutscenes because of how poorly coded they were back then. You just heard the cutscene the way it was intended to be heard and seen with all the audio. The first time I did this, the audio completely glitched out because of the way that it handled. So in that regard, I'm okay with them kind of sticking with the same cutscene, just simply upping up the resolution and such. Even though it would have been amazing to see a fully redone high definition version of that cutscene. I'm fully, acknowledging that it's a shame they didn't go that far. I wish they had. But considering what we used to have, because see, here's the thing. I remember how the original game was. And I'm sorry, but the criticisms that have been laid at some of these cutscenes, including the battle between Arthas and Illidan, if you see the original version of that cutscene, it's kind of a joke when you look at it from a quality and rendering standpoint of how it used to look back then compared to how it looks now. It was just a couple little moves and then the slash back then. Here, you actually got to see them, he drops down, they have a face-off, they have a couple of moves, exchange some blows, he dodges his warglaive, he grabs the wing, he gets a blow in, causing Illidan to go with the demon within, and, there was some extra stuff in there that was never in the original version of the game. So I'm sorry, but I cannot agree with the criticisms. I will say this, there's one thing I don't like about that cutscene. It's Arthas' face. There's just something about his face that looks off. And I don't really know what it is in terms of maybe it's his mouth, maybe. But he didn't quite look right in that cutscene. I think if they had spent a little bit more time on his face and how it looked, I think it would have looked a little better, been more appealing for people. But that was still a really cool looking cutscene compared to what we used to have. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put on, rose-tinted glasses and pretend that the original was this outstanding, incredible thing. I'm sorry, I don't, carry rose-tinted glasses for stuff like that. I'm going to acknowledge that this was much better, higher quality than the original was. If you don't want to agree with that, that's fine, but I just cannot bring myself to agree on that standpoint, that it's somehow not as good as the original cutscene. So, there is more to say in regards to, I had to get off that chest about that particular cutscene. Now, the other cutscene of him ascending, I have a bit more to say, but that has to do with what I want to read, because it basically is covered in the Arthas book. In fact, that whole portion is covered in the Arthas book. What you have seen from the beginning of this campaign in Reign of Chaos has, from art involving Arthas, has been covered in the Arthas Rise of the Lich King book. But there's a particular portion that's very important I want to cover that is towards the end of the final chapter, and especially in the epilogue. So it's going to be a spoiler for the book, but it actually is kind of important for the context for some stuff involving the Lich King that some people have not really noted. So before I do that, though, let's go ahead and hit continue, end the campaign officially, and see the cool little credits.
Storm, earth, and fire, heed my call.
So yeah, this is obviously a redone version of the credits they did back in Frozen Throne, back in the original game, where it was this cool little, hey, look, it's the Elite Tauren Chieftain Band and all that, etc. Because this was in the original game, but they've obviously done an improved version of it. I love the joke about it in StarCraft. Elite Tauren Chieftain at level 900! If you haven't seen that bit from Wings of Liberty, you gotta check that out. It was amazing. I'm actually going to go ahead and turn this down because, honestly, I have no idea whether or not this is something that could get copyrighted. I really don't know. And if you think, oh, you're being paranoid, this is from years of experience of dealing with this on YouTube, okay? I've been dealing with this for years. You never take a chance when it comes to music in your videos. Especially if you know for a fact it's licensed music. Anyone who would actually try and play the licensed music from games like Grand Theft Auto and others are insane. you're begging to have copyright, brought about on your channel. Alright, so it looks like it's mainly just the band, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and skip this. Sorry, guys. But I was hoping they were going to do more with that, but apparently not. So, obviously the final campaign is the bonus campaign. It even says bonus campaign, the founding of Durotar, where we will get to play as Rexxar and help Thrall found Orgrimmar. But that's going to be for another time. For now, I have a couple more things I want to do to kind of leave us on the right note, that having to do with what we just saw with Arthas ascending the Ice-Crown Glacier, thinking and listening to all the things that had happened in this game up until that point, bringing him to this one important moment. Hearing the first Lich King Ner'zhul, release me, break me out of here, put the helm on, and becoming the next Lich King. So, I'm going to now be reading to you guys the end of the final chapter of World of Warcraft Arthas Rise of the Lich King, as including the epilogue. Frostmourne glowed in his hand. From deep inside, Arthas saw the barest hint of an answering flare of 2 points of glowing blue light. "Return the blade," came the deep rasping voice in Arthas's mind, almost unbearably loud. "Complete the circle. Release me from this prison." Arthas took a step forward, then another, lifting Frostmourne as he moved until he was running. This was the moment it had all been leading to, and without realizing it, a roar built in his throat and tore free as he swung the blade down with all of his strength. A massive cracking resounded through the chamber as Frostmourne slammed down. The ice shattered, huge chunks flying in every direction. Arthas lifted his arms to shield himself, but the shards flew past him harmlessly. Pieces fell from the imprisoned body, and the Lich King cried out, lifting his armored arms to the sky. More groaning, cracking sounds came from the cavern and from the being himself, so loud that Arthas winced and covered his ears. It was as if the very world was tearing itself apart. Suddenly, the armored figure that was the Lich King seemed to shatter as his prison did, falling apart before Arthas's stunned gaze. There was nothing, no one, inside. Only the armor, icy black, clattering to lie in pieces. The helm, empty of its owner's head, slid to a halt to lie at Arthas's feet. He stared down at it for a long moment, a deep shiver passing through him. All this time, he had been chasing a ghost. Had the Lich King ever really been here? If not, who had thrust Frostmourne from the ice? Who had demanded to be freed? Was he, Arthas Menethil, supposed to have been the one encased in the frozen throne all along? Had this ghost he'd been chasing been himself? Questions that would likely never have answers. But one thing was clear to him. As Frostmourne had been for him, so was the armor. Gauntleted fingers closed over the spiked helm, and he lifted it slowly, reverently, and then, closing his eyes, he lowered it onto his white head. He was suddenly galvanized, his body tensing as he felt the essence of the Lich King enter him. It pierced his heart, stopped his breath, shivered along his veins, icy, powerful, crashing through him like a tidal wave. His eyes were closed, but he saw so much. All that Ner'zhul, the Orc shaman, had known, all he had seen, had done, For a moment, Arthas feared he would be overwhelmed by it all. That in the end, the Lich King had tricked him into coming here so that he could place his essence in a fresh, new body. He braced himself for a battle for control with his body as the prize. But there was no struggle, only a blending, a melding. All around him, the cavern continued to collapse. Arthas was only barely aware of it. His eyes darted rapidly back and forth beneath his closed lids. His lips moved. He spoke. They spoke.
Now, we are one.
Epilogue: The Lich King. The blue and white world blurred in Arthas's dream vision. The cold, pure colors shifted, changed to the warm hues of wood and fire and torchlight. He had done as he said he would. He had remembered his life. All that had gone before had again walked the path that had taken him to the seat of the frozen throne. And this deep, deep dreaming state. But the dream was not over, it would seem. He again sat at the head of the long, beautifully carved table that took up most of this illusionary great hall. And the two who had such an interest in his dream were still there, watching him. The orc on his left, elderly but still powerful, searched his face, and then began to smile, the gesture stretching the image of the white skull painted on his face. And on his right, the boy, the emaciated, sickly boy, looked even worse than Arthas remembered him looking when he had entered the dream of remembrance. The boy licked cracked, pale lips, and drew breath as if to speak, but it was the orc whose words shattered the stillness first.
There is so much more, he promised.
Images crowded Arthas's mind, interweaving and lying atop one another into glimpses of the future and past entangled. An army of humans on horseback, carrying the flag of Stormwind, fighting alongside, not against, a horde raiding party mounted atop snarling wolves. They were allies, attacking the Scourge together. The scene shifted, changed. Now the humans and orcs were attacking one another, and the undead, some crying out orders and fighting with minds that were clearly their own, were standing shoulder to shoulder with the orcs, strange-looking bullmen, and trolls. Kael'thas, undamaged? No. There was the scar he and his army had left. But the city was being rebuilt. Faster now, the images poured into his mind, dizzying, chaotic, disordered. It was impossible to tell the past from the future now. Another image, that of skeletal dragons raining destruction down on a city Arthas had never seen before. A hot, dry place crowded with orcs. And yes, it was Stormwind itself that was now coming under attack from the undead dragons. Nerubians. No, not Nerubians. Not Anub'arak's people, but kin to them. Yes, a desert race these were. Their servants were mammoth creatures with the heads of dogs, golems made of obsidian, who strode across the shining yellow stands. A symbol appeared, one Arthas knew. The L of Lordaeron, impaled by a sword, but depicted in red, not blue. The symbol changed, became a red flame on a white background. The flame seemed to spark to a life of its own, and engulfed the background, burning it away to reveal the silvery waters of a vast expanse of water. A sea. Something was roiling just beneath the ocean surface. The hitherto smooth surface began to churn wildly, seething as if from a storm. Although the day was clear, a horrible sound that Arthas only dimly recognized as laughter assaulted his ears, along with the screaming of a world wrenched from its proper place, hauled upward to face the light of day. It had not seen in uncounted centuries. Green. All was green, shadowy and nightmarish, grotesque images dancing at the corner of Arthas's mind, only to dart away before they could be firmly grasped. There was a brief glimpse, gone now. Antlers? A deer? A man? It was hard to tell. Hope hung about the figure, but there were forces bent on destroying it. The mountains themselves came to life, taking giant strides, crushing everything luckless, enough to crush their paths. With each mammoth footfall, the world seemed to tremble and shake. Frostmourne. This, at least, he knew, and intimately. The sword whirled end over end, as if Arthas had tossed it into the air. A second sword rose to meet it, long, inelegant, but powerful, with the symbol of a skull embedded in its fearsome blade. A name, Ashbringer. A sword, and yet more than a sword, as was Frostmourne. The two clashed. Arthas blinked and shook his head. The visions, tumbled, chaotic, heartening, and disturbing, were gone. The orc chuckled, the painted skull on his face stretching with the gesture. He had once been named Ner'zhul, had once had the gift of true visioning. Arthas did not doubt that all he had seen, though imperfectly understood, would indeed come to pass.
So much more, the orc repeated, but only if you continue to walk this path fully.
Slowly, the Death Knight turned his white head to the boy. The ill child met him with a gaze that was astonishingly clear, and for a moment, Arthas felt something inside him stir. Despite everything, the boy would not die. And that meant... The boy smiled a little, and some of the sickness dissipated as Arthas struggled for words. You are me. You are both me. But you... His voice was soft, tinged with wonder and disbelief. You are the little flame that burns inside me still, that resists the ice. You are the last vestiges of humanity, of compassion, of my ability to love, to grieve, to care. You are my love for Jaina, my love for my father, for all the things that made me what I once was. Somehow Frostmourne didn't take it all. I tried to turn away from you, and I couldn't. I can't. The boy's sea-green eyes brightened, and he gave his other self, a tremulous smile. His color improved, and before Arthas's eyes, some of the pustules on his skin disappeared. You understand now. Despite all, Arthas, you have not abandoned me. Tears of hope stood in those eyes, and his voice, though stronger now than it had been, quavered with emotion. There must be a reason. Arthas Menethil, much harm have you done, but there is goodness in you yet. If there was none, I would not exist, not even in your dreams. He slipped off the chair and slowly walked towards the Death Knight. Arthas stood as he approached. For a moment they regarded each other, the child and the man he had become. The boy extended his arms as if he were a living, breathing child asking to be picked up and held by a loving father. "It doesn't have to be too late," he said quietly. "No," Arthas said quietly, staring raptly at the boy. "It doesn't." He touched the curve of the boy's cheek, slipped a hand beneath the small chin, and tilted up the shining face. He smiled into his own eyes. "But it is." Frostmourne descended. The boy cried out, his shocked, betrayed, anguished cry, that of the wind raging outside, and for a moment Arthas saw him standing there, the blade buried in his chest, almost as big as he was, and felt one final tremor of remorse as he met his own eyes. Then the boy was gone. All that remained of him was the bitter keening of the wind scouring the tormented land. It felt marvelous. It was only with the boy's passing that Arthas truly realized how dreadful a burden this last struggling scrap of humanity had been. He felt light, powerful, purged, scoured clean as Azeroth would soon be. All his weakness, all his softness, everything that had ever made him hesitate or second-guess himself, it was all gone now. There was only Arthas, Frostmourne, all but singing at having claimed the final piece of Arthas's soul, and the orc, whose skull face was split with triumphant laughter.
"Yes!" the orc exhilarated, laughing almost maniacally. "I knew you would make this choice. For so long you have wrestled with the last dregs of goodness, of humanity in you. But no longer. The boy you held you back, and now you are free."
He now got to his feet, his body still that of an old orc, but moving with the ease and fluidity of the young.
"We are one, Arthas. Together we are the Lich King. No more Ner'zhul, no more Arthas. Only this one glorious being. With my knowledge, we can..."
His eyes bulged as the sword impaled him. Arthas stepped forward, plunging the glittering, hungering Frostmourne ever deeper into the dream being that had once been Ner'zhul, then the Lich King, and was soon to be nothing. Nothing at all. He slipped his other arm around the body, pressing his lips so close to the green ear that the gesture was almost intimate. As intimate as the act of taking a life always was, and always would be. "No," Arthas whispered. "No we. No one tells me what to do. I've got everything I need from you. Now the power is mine, and mine alone. Now there is only I. I am the Lich King, and I am ready." The orc shuddered in his arms, stunned by the betrayal, and vanished. The teacup shattered as it fell from Jaina's suddenly nerveless hands. She gasped momentarily, unable to breathe, the cold of the damp gray day knifing through her. Aegwyn was there, her gnarled hands closing on Jaina's. "Aegwyn, what happened?" Her voice was thick, anguished, and tears suddenly filled her eyes as if she was grieving terribly for the loss of something. "It's not your imagination," Aegwyn said grimly. "I felt it too. As for what? Well, I'm sure we'll find out. Sylvanas started as if the mammoth demon in front of her had struck her. Which, of course, he would never dare do. Varimathras narrowed his glowing eyes.
My lady, what is it?
Him. It was always him. Sylvanas's gloved hands clenched and unclenched. Something has happened. Something to do with the Lich King. I felt it. There was no longer a link between them. At least not one in which she was under his control. But perhaps something lingered. Something that warned her. We need to step up our plans, she told Varimathras. I believe that time has suddenly become a precious commodity. For so long, he felt nothing. He had stayed on the throne, immobile, waiting, dreaming. The ice had come to cover him as he sat still as stone. But not a prison, no, a second skin. He had not known then what he was waiting for, but now he did. He had taken the final steps on a journey begun so long ago, begun the day that darkness had first brushed his world in the form of a weeping young storm-wind prince mourning his father. The path had led across Azeroth, to Northrend, to this frozen throne and open sky, to the searching of his deepest self, and the choices to murder both the innocent that held him back and the parts of himself that had shaped him. Arthas, the Lich King, alone in his glory and power, slowly opened his eyes. Ice cracked from them at the gesture and fell in small shards like frozen tears. A smile formed beneath the ornate helm that covered his white hair and pale skin, and more ice fell from his awakening, slowly shifting form, fragments of an icy chrysalis that was no longer needed. He was awake.
It's begun.
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas. Child, I watched with pride as you grew into a weapon of righteousness. Remember, our line has always ruled with wisdom and strength. And I know you will show restraint when exercising your great power.
I tell you this, for when my days have come to an end, you shall be king.